Friday night duels on the ACC Network Extra. Tonight, the Duke Blue Devils travel to Raleigh to challenge the 7th-ranked NC State Wolfpack in Reynolds Coliseum. It is the final ACC regular season duel of the season, and it's senior night here in Raleigh. While they are in Reynolds Coliseum, hello everybody, we are in our broadcast studio position alongside Ryan Tice. My name is Andrew Sanders. Glad you could join us here on this exciting Friday night. It is the end of the regular season, so both of these teams, Ryan, are trying to obviously take that momentum from this one and into postseason competition.
Yeah, like in every sport, the postseason is the most important part of the season, but it's different in wrestling because the style changes. It goes from team-based dual meets to individual tournaments, but momentum's a real thing. You can pick up some momentum in these individual matches and take it into the individual tournaments.
These two programs trying to end the regular season on the right note. NC State is in uncharted territory. They hadn't lost in 2 years before last Friday at Virginia Tech, falling in the final seconds.
Yeah, not only did it come down to the final seconds of the final bout, you see right there, it came down the criteria. The teams were tied in the team scored technically, and the difference in criteria team points was just 1 point.
So NC State looking to bounce back tonight against Duke. They'll have to do it against Josh Finesilver. He's the leader for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, you mentioned he's the leader. He is their best wrestler, and we get to see him in the best match tonight, taking on freshman Ed Scott. Can't wait to see how that one shakes out.
That is going to be a really interesting matchup at 149 pounds. It'll be interesting to see how the ACC shakes out the regular season finale here tonight, because as you see, all these programs, 5 ranked in the top 25. The ACC has gotten better year after year, and nothing maybe says that better than Pitt. Great program, ranked 16th in the country. They're just 1-3 in conference.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a small league, only 6 teams, but you see incredible depth, 5 of them in the top 21. The ACC championships could be just as close as that Virginia Tech NC State match.
So we start at 125 pounds. And it'll be Jacob Camacho of NC State quickly getting a takedown against the freshman Logan Agan. Redshirt sophomore Camacho, true freshman Logan Agan. We're going to be saying that a lot tonight for Duke. This is a very young program. They've got some redshirt freshmen and some true freshmen in their starting lineup.
Yeah, a lot of youth on that Duke side. Just how it goes sometimes, but I know Glenn Lanham, their head coach, is very excited about the team he's got and watching them grow.
So a quick takedown for Camacho, and that is good for his confidence. This is a guy that is the defending ACC champion at 125 pounds, so he's got good reason to be confident, but took his first loss of the season, as you saw in that tape just a moment ago, falling to 8th-ranked Sam Latona in the very last seconds of that duel.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying I think a lot of us expect that to be the ACC championship finals match at 125, and you know, Camacho will be out there with revenge on his mind.
Really looking forward to those ACC championships. Looking forward to hearing you on the broadcast as well. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I cannot wait. I never got to wrestle in the ACCs when I was at NC State, so very excited to earn my way in a different way.
There you go. Just 1 minute in, Camacho with a takedown in the first seconds. Agan with an escape. And Camacho working for that second takedown. The 2020 ACC Championship most outstanding wrestler last year. Also earned second team All-American honors.
Yeah, I think when you take out a former NCAA finalist, the way Camacho did, he had to get that MOW award. Very well earned, especially the way that he lost in the regular season to Virginia's Jack Mueller and then turned it around in the ACC finals.
Yeah, perhaps no wrestler made a bigger jump from the start of the regular season to the postseason than Jacob Camacho. Of course, when the season was cut short, we couldn't see just how high he was going to peak last year. But as the captain Hayden Hidley said before the season for NC State, this is a double-down year for the Wolfpack, and so they just try to redouble their efforts and pour that much emotion into this upcoming postseason.
Exactly right.
No control yet here for Camacho. And there is the takedown. So Hagan able to delay it momentarily. We'll see what the strategy will be here for Camacho. The final 40 seconds of the first.
Yeah, at this point it looks like Camacho's going to try to get that riding time up over a minute now, and then we'll see maybe after he gets another takedown if he starts going for cuts.
Hagen to his feet. Would be a big escape here for him if he can get out after the mat return.
Yeah, that was an awesome mat return there from Camacho.
So with that mat return, Camacho prevents Hagen from escaping. And as you saw, he also got that ride time up over a minute. Right now, 1 minute and 4 seconds for the redshirt sophomore from Danbury, Connecticut. Hagen as a true freshman. Coach Lanham says he's a gritty, tough kid. He just wants to compete. And although he wasn't in college, of course, he was, like everyone, affected by COVID last year, where his season was cut short. And Coach Lanham said, you know, if he had had a state championship opportunity, you know, I think he would have won a state title, and obviously didn't get that chance. But now he gets a chance in the ACC, and going up against tough competition every week, and maybe none tougher than Camacho. And this is a chance for Hagen to really find out where he's at.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting when we talked to Glenn Lanham earlier this year, and he mentioned a lot of his true freshmen didn't want a red shirt. They wanted to get out there and see how they stacked up against the competition. And when it's as strong as the ACC, that's a pretty commendable thing.
2 more for Camacho. And he will cut. Yeah, I thought that was a good quote. He said, you know, Logan Hagen was very vocal about that. I don't want a red shirt. He says, I want to put my foot in the water and see how deep it is.
That's right. And especially when you got Jacob Camacho and Sam Latona of Virginia Tech at your weight. I mean, that's
the deep end of the pool.
It's the deep end, no doubt about it.
Camacho just cranking around, and had a look there for just a moment at back points. He hasn't earned any back points yet. The 7 points compiled, 3 takedowns and 1 escape as he started the period off on bottom. Into the second period, and just something to keep in mind is that because Camacho started off on bottom and he did choose to cut there, the ride time is actually just under a minute now, 58 seconds. Everyone looking forward to ACCs. You mentioned Sam Latona. What about that was last week? As you had said earlier, Ryan, expecting that probably to be the championship bout at 125 in the ACC. And so Camacho preparing for that and a lot more. Head coach Pat Popolizio said, you know, the sky is the limit for him this year to win a national title. I mean, he is a contender for that, and that's where his eyes are set past the ACC championships.
Big time finish there. Yeah, really, NC State's got their program in a place where I think the expectation for the majority, if not all of these starters, is they're looking to nationals and going out to win national titles.
And a stall warning here on Hagen. Well, all 10 starters for NC State. Not tonight. NC State will be without a couple of starters tonight, but the traditional starters for NC State, all 10 ranked in the coaches panel. As Camacho earns another takedown, and with that ride time, he is into major decision territory. He is going to cut and look for more. secures that final takedown. And a workmanlike effort from Jacob Camacho as he earns a major decision victory over Logan Egan. Welcome you back here to Raleigh, 7th ranked NC State against Duke. And there's head coach Glenn Lanham of the Blue Devils in his 9th season. April 16th, 2012. Also in his 9th season, Pat Popolizio. These two were hired within days of one another, both in their 9th season, and they know each other well because well, they're part of that brotherhood of coaching that comes from Oklahoma State. Just a revered program. We know what they can do on the wrestling mat, but also developing some really good coaches.
Yeah, there's no more fruitful coaching tree in the country than what Oklahoma State's got going on. Impressive stuff. 3 of them in the ACC, and all 3 of those guys, with Coleman Scott of UNC included, doing great work in this conference.
That is a really, really cool tie-in that all 3 of the Triangle schools have Oklahoma State guys at the helm.
And all doing, I mean, really historic stuff at each of their programs.
Yeah. So we move to 133 pounds. This is freshman Ryan Jack of NC State against redshirt freshman Drake Doolittle of Duke. And this is one of the storylines, one of the major storylines here tonight, really, Ryan, is that not just that Ryan Jack is starting here at 133 pounds, but obviously going for the team here. It's an important bout for him, but he might have a more important one coming up later.
Yeah, you're exactly
Which
right.
is something I don't think I've ever said on a broadcast before, but I think tonight it might be true.
Especially for a wrestling duel, but a little bit of what you're talking about. The expectation is that we're going to see Jarrett Trombley at 141 pounds next match, and then in the extra matches that happen after the duel, Trombley and Jack are going to be wrestling each other with big-time implications for the NC State lineup going forward.
So in a normal year, obviously, you don't even have these extra matches. Talking to coaches as we have throughout the year, as Jack is able to strike first, I don't think I've heard a single coach that doesn't like it. I mean, it has been unanimous. They like these extra matches to be able to get their guys work. But traditionally what we've seen this year is opposing teams going head-to-head. NC State is going to use this as a wrestle-off to pretty much decide who's going to be the guy going forward at 133 pounds. And that's something we haven't seen yet. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a new one. You never really have been able to see it before, but head coach Pat Popolizio of the Wolfpack said they think they have 2 good ones at 33, and they just want to see how they kind of stack up against each other on a even level and in a real match situation.
Ryan Jack getting to his offense early.
Yeah, he went optional start there and didn't waste any time getting that second takedown.
Jack 6-2 on the year. Doolittle 0-2. As I mentioned, he's a redshirt freshman, so he has a little bit of experience over Ryan Jack, does Drake Doolittle. Went 4-6 last year in 3 tournaments, but it is Ryan Jack who is dominating this first period. His 3rd takedown, and he's got some expectations in front of him. He's just a true freshman, but this is where NC State is when they recruit guys that they expect them to be able to come in and contribute right away. And of course, when your last name is Jack at NC State, you're going to have some expectations anyways.
Yeah, of course, Kevin Jack, his older brother, you see him right there, was now an assistant, but he just set the world on fire as a freshman and came out and was an All-American. Took the nation by surprise at that NCAA championships.
4 swipes for Ryan Jack. So the first back points that we've seen tonight. And part of the thinking there, Tariq Wilson, of course, is the NC State starter at 141. It is senior night. He was honored, but they're giving him the night off. So part of the thinking for that wrestle-off is it probably wouldn't be fair if one guy wrestled earlier in the night, one guy didn't. So to be able to see Trombley and Jack. They will both get a match in. You see Tariq Wilson looking on, the Wolfpack starter, at 141. What do you think about the work from Jack in the first?
And you think it's a big night for him or what? I mean,
yeah.
He's going out there and getting after it. You see him getting the 4 near fall points right there. But
so both wrestlers will, obviously be a little bit fatigued and also warmed up, I guess, is the least you could say. But obviously how you fare in your first match before the wrestle-off has got to either help or hurt with your mentality. And also there's the question of, if you can finish your bout early, how much of an edge does that give you later on?
Yeah, exactly. When you see a guy go out there and put up 10 points in the first period, maybe he's thinking a little bit of that, Ryan Jack is, and trying to end this one early and, get his mind right and start preparing for what's coming up next.
He breaks Doolittle down here after the takedown, 13-2. Got that 4-point swipe earlier, but he's just going to go for the cut and the takedown. Doolittle trying to sprawl. And he is close to finishing once again. 2 points awarded, so now 15-3. And still a minute left in the second.
It looked like he was going to try to go for a cross-face cradle there for a minute.
Yeah.
And then kind of bailed out when it wasn't working, but
he's going to get some back points here, perhaps. No swipes yet. There's 2. And that will do it. As the hold is released, Ryan Jack with a tech fall victory over Drake Doolittle.
Dominant effort there from Ryan Jack. Wasted no time. Put up 20 points in his match. You see the final 4 right here. Tech fall makes it 9-0 Wolfpack.
At 141 pounds, there is Jared Trombley of NC State. Redshirt sophomore against redshirt freshman Patrick Rowland of Duke. Now Trombley is ranked at 133 pounds, but he's wrestling up tonight at 141 pounds against Rowland. How does that change things for Trombley moving up a weight class like this?
It's tough to say, really. I mean, I think most guys are going to go out there and not really think too much about weight classes or, this guy could be bigger than me or anything like that. And, I mean, you see Trombley's ranking. He's ranked 10th in the country in the coaches poll and at 133, but I don't think he's really concerned about what weight his opponent, has on him or anything like that.
Trombley coming off a loss last Friday night to 8th-ranked Corbin Myers of Virginia Tech, and it was by major decision. And that perhaps surprised some people for a guy in the top 10 to lose by major decision. Trombley had won the job at 133 earlier this year, but when we talked to Pat Popolizio, he admitted to us at the time that he had a lot of options at 133 pounds, but was really a fan of just how Trombley had really worked and competed, and he said, out of that good competition in the room, he said he responded really well to that, and with his maturity, everything was on the right track for him, and that he was really excited to see what he did this year. But I think because of those options and what we just saw from Ryan Jack and how well he is wrestling, that even if you're going up against a top 10 guy like Trombley was last weekend, when you take a loss, you got a freshman pushing you like that. Pat Popolizio loves the competition, and he wants to see, just how Trombley and Jack fare head to head.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they stack up either. I mean, that's it, from the outside looking in, you got a guy ranked 10th in the country like Trombley. It might seem a little odd, but those guys have been wrestling every day, and you just got to see who the best option is going into the postseason. We do have looked like it was going to be an illegal hold. I'm guessing maybe a figure 4 around the head.
1 point has been awarded for illegal hold. NC State also awarded 2 points for a takedown.
So it was an illegal hold, and Trombley got the takedown. So now 5-1. And you saw Rowland just getting an explanation there. Rowland went 1-4 last year in his redshirt season. Coach Lanham says he likes to get funky. He's good at it, but working with him more on just going to the baseline more.
Yeah, I know the funk is the popular stuff in college wrestling now, especially, but sometimes it just good, hard fundamentals is what you need.
It's certainly not a bad thing to have in your back pocket, but I think talking to a lot of coaches, they don't want guys to rely upon it too much, because sometimes you get rolling around and you get funky, and then it can be dangerous if you get caught.
100%. I mean, and the other thing is sometimes you just got to be able to get to your offense and score a takedown.
Sure.
And funk is normally more counter offense and defense.
Ride time up over a minute for Jarrett Trombley. Strong mat return there, and immediately looking for a turn. Rowland defending that pretty well. Short time here. No escape allowed by Trombley. We mentioned the extra matches. Of course, coming into tonight, we weren't necessarily expecting a wrestle-off, but we've mentioned the extra matches now at this point. So I want to remind our viewers that after this duel is completed, Ryan and I will stay on. We will have coverage of those extra matches. So whether you want to see the wrestle-off or just continued competition between NC State and Duke, we will have that for you. It'll be on 2 mats simultaneously, so we will try to cover it as best we can. There's going to be a lot of action in those extra matches.
Yeah, 9 matches coming up in those extra matches, and I know you love the heavyweights, so we got a big boy bonanza. 4 heavyweight matches coming up in these extra matches.
I like the alliteration. So Trombley with an escape here to start the second period. And now looking to get to his offense. As he does.
Great job of just changing his level and going in, while Rowland was kind of focusing on his head and beating on that a little bit. And good job by Trombley just changing his level and shooting in. Now he's looking for the finish.
Strong performance for NC State so far. Jarrett Trombley adding to it. If you're just tuning in, Jacob Camacho won by major decision, 14-4 over freshman Logan Egan. And then at 133 pounds, freshman Ryan Jack with a tech fall victory in the second period, 20-4 over Drake Doolittle. Reset. 8 seconds remaining after the stalemate. Rowland quickly to his feet, spun out, and just holding on to that ankle is going to save a point. It is a stall warning there for Trombley, but he'll take it just to avoid giving up the escape. Stay in that major decision territory with the right time.
Yeah, he probably thought there was so little time that he wouldn't get a foul.
Probably
count.
not.
But the ref, just in the nick of time, hit him with that stall call.
That'll be a caution. Little early there for Trombley. Trombley 4 times a state champ in the state of Michigan coming out of high school. How about that? Rowland almost working himself back into that waterfall. And now Trombley in a great position. The takedown is awarded. Still working for the turn. Back to neutral, 10-3 now. Ride time point has been locked up for Jarrett Trombley. And Rowland defending that shot well, and now maybe scoring on his own. Trombley. He said, I could get funky too.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that earlier when we were talking about how good Rowland is at the funk, and I was thinking Trombley's a pretty funky guy himself. So
he shows it there. Can Rowland turn this around in the last 7 seconds? He does get his first takedown of the bout. And that's going to turn this into just a decision. So Jarrett Trombley going up a weight class and getting a win. And also Rowland, a little momentum there at the end to feel good about.
Yeah, got the takedown at the end, but here's the first takedown of the match. Jarrett Trombley got 2 of them in the first period. That was the first.
Back with Ryan Tice. My name is Andrew Sanders. Thanks for joining us for Friday Night Duels here in Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, North Carolina, the home of the ACC Championships coming up in a couple of weeks, February 28th. This is the bout of the night, 149 pounds. Freshman Ed Scott of NC State against redshirt junior Josh Finesilver of Duke. Scott ranked 31st in the country, Finesilver 22nd in the country. And Josh Finesilver is a 2-time NCAA qualifier. This is the one we've been looking forward to.
Yeah, cannot wait to see how these guys stack up against each other. Could really be the best win of the season for either guy.
Ed Scott with a strong start. We have seen NC State wrestlers earn takedowns early on, and Ed Scott is awfully strong for 149 pounds, and he shows off that strength early.
Yeah, here's the thing with Josh Finesilver, though. The kid never stops wrestling. And you see right there, he was able to, that's just going to be an escape, but he nearly was in position for a reversal.
Absolutely. Ed Scott 3-4 in his freshman campaign. He lost last week to 11th ranked Bryce Andonian of Virginia Tech by decision, 9-5 the final there. Josh Finesilver moving his way up weight classes, a 2018 NCAA qualifier at 133. 2019 he qualified at 141. Here he is at 149.
That's not something you see very often in college wrestling, a guy moving up weight classes every year. Very unique, but he's a guy that's put in the time in the weight room, according to Coach Glenn Lanham, and is now, according to him, ready for 149. And that wasn't a sure thing this past summer.
I think that's really interesting, because if you look at 141, 149, and Ryan, you're an expert on this, but certainly no matter what weight class you're in the ACC, there's going to be great competition. But to make that decision to move up when it might even be a tougher landscape at 149 really shows that, you know, Josh Finesilver is never going to run away from competition.
Coach Lanham said the Finesilvers are like firefighters running towards a fire. They just go for competition. But you're exactly right. I think 149 is a tougher weight class in the ACC than 141, and that just shows you what the Finesilvers are all about.
And really some of the philosophy for Duke, as you know, Coach Lanham felt like cutting weight at times maybe held him back, was detrimental to him in his wrestling career at Oklahoma State. And so he says, you know, if my guys are on the meal plan and they're working hard in the weight room and their weight is good enough to move up, then why not?
Yeah, no doubt. If they can win that spot by moving up, I think it's all for it. And we probably just made Glenn Lanham very popular with a couple of recruits, given that comment.
Get on the meal plan, get in the weight room. Ed Scott, meanwhile, kind of a different story. Of course, he's just a freshman, but we expect him to likely move up in the future. In fact, that was kind of the plan, was for him to come in, be behind Hayden Hidley, and then eventually take over that 157 spot for NC State. And then, you know, who knows, later on, maybe he makes a move, maybe he doesn't, but that's just speculation. But there was a spot at 149, and he was able to make that weight and make that work. And so you give a guy an opportunity, say, hey, you want to wrestle at 149? You want to be in the starting lineup? He says, sure thing, you know, I'll be there.
Well, when you have the opportunity to break into the lineup as a true freshman on a team that could do some really special things, it's hard to turn that opportunity down.
There's a look, the top 5 at 149 pounds, and there you see, yeah, a representative of the ACC, Carolina's Austin O'Connor, sitting at number 1 in the country. So 149 can be difficult to win an ACC championship. That's what Fine Silver is looking to do this season. Scott able to wrangle out of that. So a 3-1 lead, Fine Silver. The underhooks. It has been a shortened year, of course. Still been a tough year for Duke. 0-4, only wrestling against ACC competition, but winless so far, going up against the 3-time regular season champs NC State, as Fine Silver evens this bout at 3 apiece with that takedown. It is not easy for Duke, and it's not easy for Josh Fine Silver, but he has been the leader of this team, and really encouraging, you know, this young roster, even if the wins aren't necessarily there yet. He has been a leader and someone they can look forward to, who is still racking up individual wins and then leading them off the mat as well.
Yeah, no doubt. When his twin, Matt Fine Silver, their 174-pounder, went down and is out for the year with an injury, I think that put a lot on Josh Fine Silver's plate to be that leader, and you know, he's really the veteran of the lineup. There's not many guys who have wrestled college duels before. There's not many guys I don't think there's anyone else in the Duke lineup that's wrestled at the NCAA championships like Josh Fine Silver has. So that has put him in a big spot for this team.
A stall warning for Ed Scott. And this is where, you know, you talk, a lot of freshmen come in, no matter how talented they may be, they can struggle on bottom, especially against veteran guys like Fine Silver. And you see Scott there unable to get out from bottom and hit with that stall warning.
I was going to say it was the worst of both worlds. Not only did he not get out, he also got hit for stalling. And I mean, that's really one of the toughest transitions from high school to college wrestling, is adjusting to that bottom position. And I was talking to a friend who's a high school coach about it, and he was telling me, you know, think about it. A lot of these best high school wrestlers.
No control for Ed Scott yet. But he is a big move wrestler, and he's got one here. 4 swipes for Scott. And Fine Silver is in trouble.
Scott needs to pin his right hip down on the mat. Not able to.
And a reversal. Wow.
Are you having fun yet?
The big move capability of Ed Scott. He gets the escape. So now 10-6 the lead for Scott. What a big move that was, and it really speaks to the veteran capability of Feinsilver. He's close to getting pinned there and somehow turns that into a reversal within 10 seconds.
Yeah, just a wild flurry there. Ed Scott pulling out the big moves. Feinsilver kind of staying the course, able to get a reversal out of it, and this one's not over yet, folks.
That reversal, obviously, keeping him in this bout, but Feinsilver does not have a lot of time here. He's going to need a big move himself. Again, Scott was hit with that stall warning just before the end of the second period, so that is something to keep in mind. We expected this to be the bout of the night, and that flurry that we just saw here in the third period, deservedly so. We have gotten pretty much what we've expected from this one. Scott in with a double. 2 more for the freshman. And this is a big win for Ed Scott in his young career.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The best win of his young college career, and that's a very quality win. 12-6 victory over a guy like Josh Feinsilver, 2-time NCAA qualifier, and it was all thanks to this big move from Ed Scott. Puts the Wolfpack up.
Hayden Hidley is not dressed out tonight, but he is certainly dressed up. The suit jacket look for Hayden Hidley as he gets the night off. Trying to become NC State's first ever 4-time All-American. It is certainly an expectation. Many in the wrestling world would probably say it's a high likelihood that he is able to do that. Has had a tremendous career here in Raleigh. And what an accomplishment that would be to be the first to do anything in this storied program.
Yeah, there's not many firsts left to accomplish with the things that this team has done, especially under Pat Papalizio. They've won 8 NCAA championships and never had a 4-time All-American, so that's pretty special. Just shows you what the consistency it requires.
Got the dress shirt, the jacket on. Looks like an assistant coach over there. And talking to Pat Papalizio, he said he could be an assistant coach at a program right now. He really thinks that highly of his leadership qualities and obviously his wrestling acumen and expertise. A.J. Kovacs here, freshman of NC State, going up against redshirt freshman Brandon LaRue of Duke. And so at 157 pounds, we just saw Ed Scott was maybe going to be in the mix for that in the future, moving to 149. You got freshman Joe Roberts in this spot, A.J. Kovacs in this spot. You've seen him in extra matches, but obviously with 157 locked up, they haven't had many opportunities, certainly not in an ACC duel. So this is a big spot for Kovacs here going up against LaRue.
Yeah, his first chance to wrestle in a duel, and he's 3-2 on the year, so for him, any opportunity is a big opportunity, but especially in a conference duel like this one.
LaRue's got that left ankle of Kovacs. The redshirt freshman went 6-5 last year in his redshirt season over the course of 3 tournaments. And a guy that Coach Lanham says is going to be a future captain for us. He says he does everything the right way, and he's just a redshirt freshman. I think that's something you don't hear very often, is a coach saying, hey, he's young right now, but I already know this guy is going to be a big leader for us later on.
Not often you hear that, but there is one guy I can remember hearing that from as soon as he was a true freshman. That's who we were talking about earlier in Hayden Hidley.
There you go.
Maybe it's something with this weight class,
Kovacs on one leg for about 30 seconds now and defending well, as LaRue just couldn't get that kick out. This is a big bout for Kovacs. Pat Papalizio said he just wants to see how he handles this, and really it comes down to the mental side of wrestling, because he says Kovacs has all the tools, and I just want to see if he can put it together in a duel, because sometimes he sees Kovacs and says, this is one of the best guys in our room.
With the team that they have right now, that is incredibly high praise for a true freshman.
So the question is, can he put it together and be consistent with that? And so this is his opportunity in the duel to see if he can show his stuff. And he's close to finishing here on LaRue. There is the 2-point takedown awarded. Coming late here in the first period. Out the remaining time. What do you think about that first period? Overall, pretty even. Obviously, Kovacs finishes at the end. LaRue just couldn't quite capitalize when he had Kovacs on one leg.
Yeah, I feel like half of that first period was just one big, long scramble for the most part. One guy seemed to have the upper hand, then it switched over, and Kovacs comes out on top with the takedown, and then the other key, he doesn't give up and escape.
See LaRue with some success against Pittsburgh earlier this year. Looking to put Duke on the board through 4 matches. The Wolfpack up 15-0.
Important note, Kovacs has not been awarded an escape yet. There it is. He went head hunting there and caught LaRue, nearly turned it into a reversal.
And this would be big for LaRue and Duke to be able to get a victory here. You look down the list, 184 is open. Caden Russell has been awfully tough at 197. That might be an opportunity for the Blue Devils as well. But here at 157 without Hidley, this is one that Duke feels like they can win. And it has been Kovacs so far. You heard the shouts for 2. LaRue defending, avoiding that, and now maybe he's worked himself into a better position.
Yeah, Kovacs still has that leg lock, so it's going to be tough to finish right now until he can get Kovacs off of that leg. There he goes.
First takedown for LaRue. It comes late here in the second period.
And just like we said with the end of the first period, big that he gets the takedown at the end, but he doesn't give up the escape.
Sure.
So he gets that 2-point advantage there, and it stays a 2-point margin.
Coach Lenham said that LaRue is really tough on top and is just working to develop a little more on his feet. There's Glenn Lanham. There's a good chance that this one is going to come down to neutral in the third period. That's, of course, if LaRue can escape.
Kovacs doing a good job of riding so far and following.
Dangerous there from LaRue. And he gave up his back, if only for a split second.
He's really attacking that right foot of AJ Kovacs, and that's going to be a stalemate.
If Kovacs stays tough like this on top, that riding time right now is just at 29 seconds. I mean, it was LaRue who had the advantage. He's completely erased it, and that could absolutely be a factor here down the stretch, already with that 1-point advantage if he can obviously ride for another 31 seconds. It's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, especially with the position LaRue is in right now. Kovacs is going to really need to break him down.
What do you think about that?
Right on cue. See, that riding time is getting close to a minute.
And you hear his teammates cheering him on because they realize the significance. They know what's going on, and letting Kovacs know as well. You're over a minute. So effectively a 4-2 advantage, and that ride time point is locked in now.
Yeah, LaRue's going to have to go for a reversal here now. An escape will not do it.
That is an impressive third period from A.J. Kovacs as he rides out LaRue for the victory.
A.J. Kovacs gets the nod, his first chance in a college wrestling duel. Gets a takedown in the first, escape in the second, and ride out in the third for the win. 4-2 victory.
Halfway through here in Raleigh, 18-0, seventh-ranked NC State over the Duke Blue Devils. 5-minute intermission here just to clean the mat. And as you see, safety first here in Raleigh. Let's take a look at highlights through the first 5 bouts. And well, Jacob Camacho started off at 125 pounds. He got a takedown about 5 seconds in, Ryan. He didn't waste much time.
He didn't waste much time, and then he kept getting takedowns. Finished 6 takedowns, gave up 0, only gave up escape points in that dominant major decision victory.
14-4 for Camacho, the victory over freshman Logan Hagan. Ryan Jack, wrestling at 133 pounds, earned the tech fall 20-4. That put NC State up 9-0. And then Jared Trombley moving up to 141 pounds. He wins by decision to make it 12-0. The one we were looking forward to, Ryan, 149, Ed Scott, biggest victory of his career.
Yeah, the Wolfpack freshman did not disappoint, put up some fireworks. That was a match that was 3-3 after 2 periods, ends up being a 12-6 victory for Ed Scott. And like you mentioned, the biggest of his career, beating the guy that was nationally ranked.
Added 1 takedown late just to finish things up, made it 12-6. And then at 157 pounds, A.J. Kovacs in his first dual opportunity. He got the victory, a 4-2 decision. So that is how we have gotten to this point. NC State up 18-0 as we head to the second half of this duel. NC State and Duke, of course, very familiar, longtime rivals. The Wolfpack has gotten the better of this series as of late. This is the last time Duke beat NC State. It actually came here in Raleigh. Funny enough, Ryan, NC State actually has a tremendous streak, 27 consecutive wins at Duke that dates back to 1967, but it was recent memory that Duke won in Raleigh.
Yeah, that was one that was so tight, came down to the final match. You see right there, Sam Spino, 17th ranked, got upset by Evan Botwin, and that gave it to the Blue Devils.
Look at what was going on back in 2015. I thought when our producer, Caleb Waters, told us, you know, we were going to have this, I wasn't sure we were going to have like the price of milk or something like that. I don't know if it's changed that much since 2015, but how about that? Bruno Mars, haven't heard enough from him recently after his Super Bowl performance a couple of years ago. Birdman won Best Picture. I think Birdman was still in the NBA, going up against Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, perhaps.
2 different Birdmen we're talking about there.
How about this? Oh, brother. Duke and NC State, it's a family affair. The Fine Silvers, very well known at Duke. And NC State has got the Bullards and the Hidleys also. And then how about this? So the Bullards are twins. The Fine Silvers, 2 groups of twins. And the Deckers, also twins on Duke. Wrestling, it seems to, if you have somebody that is identical to you in size growing up, it seems to work out well for working on your wrestling.
Hey, you always got a practice partner available, so lots of practice time. But I'll tell you, the funny thing about the Duke sets of twins, they're all different sizes.
That's why I said growing up.
A 30-pound gap in some of those guys.
Yeah, that is interesting that even amongst identical twins, you can still grow up and end up being 30 pounds different in your college career. We move now to 165 pounds. Thomas Bullard is honored here on senior night. Going up against Eric Carter, redshirt junior against redshirt senior. This is Carter's second year as a starter. Potentially dangerous there. He was the starter at 157 last year for Duke, went 3-26 on the year. Thomas Bullard, three-time NCAA qualifier, and it'll be 4 times pretty soon.
Yeah, and this is a tough task for Eric Carter. You see Bullard getting on that shot and finishing quickly. He's just improved so much in his time at NC State. And, you know, don't be fooled by that 2-4 record he has this year, because he is ranked in the top 15 nationally by just about everybody.
You know, he lost last Friday. I thought he wrestled pretty well going up against number 1, Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech. He lost 5-0, but I think that was still big for his team when you're going up against the number 1 guy in the country. You don't give up bonus points. And all in all, I mean, that was a pretty tight bout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a 5-0 decision against a guy that's as electric and dynamic as Mekhi Lewis is almost like a win, especially given that situation for that team score in the duel. NC State knew they couldn't give up bonus points there, and Thomas Bullard went out there and did exactly that.
Well, this is the position Eric Carter was hoping to not find himself in. Everybody knows about the Bullard's prowess in this position. Got the boots in.
And look at that power half on the left side.
Couple of swipes.
Oh, and that's in deep.
Carter in trouble here. And there's the pin. Thomas Bullard on senior night with a first period pin.
Senior night for Thomas Bullard. It can't go much better than that. A first period pin, and that puts the Wolfpack up.
At 174 pounds, NC State leading 24-0 over Duke. Back with Ryan Tice. My name is Andrew Sanders. Glad you could join us here for Friday Night Duels. After Thomas Bullard's first period pin, there was an or in the lineup tonight for NC State. We thought we would see 7th-ranked Daniel Bullard, Thomas's twin brother. Instead, it'll be redshirt sophomore Alex Faison of NC State, who is undefeated this year at 4-0, going up against a true freshman, Connor Becker of Duke. He is 1-3. So a chance for Faison here. Going up against Becker, who was, interestingly enough, a 4-sport athlete in high school. Faison scores quickly. So he played football. That's pretty common for wrestlers. He played football, wrestle as well, ran track, and then also played baseball during track season. And Faison getting to work immediately. 2 back points awarded thus far.
Yeah, it's senior night, but it's like we're getting a look into the future for NC State wrestling, getting to see some of these guys who are normally backups and a little bit younger and seeing what they've got.
So Faison perfect on the year. He's from Whispering Pines, North Carolina. Redshirted last year, competed in 5 open tournaments, all at this weight, and went 16-6. With those 16 wins, he did have 5 pinfall wins.
You haven't even gotten to the best part of that bio yet, partner.
What's that?
Never wrestled before high school. There's not many guys who make it in college wrestling that you can say that of.
I thought you were going to say majoring in history. No, that is... and especially to be able to come to, not just to wrestle in college as he scores again. It's one thing to not wrestle before high school and then be able to go to college and wrestle, but to be able to come to an ACC program and a program that has been in the top 10 for the last 80 weeks,
Yeah, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. I'm betting he's the only guy on the Wolfpack roster that applies to.
We're talking about Becker being a tremendous, four-sport athlete, and Coach Lanham was saying, he was playing so many sports in high school. Like, now that we've got him just focused on wrestling, he's such a good athlete. He's just going to get better and better and better, and will grow by leaps and bounds. For Faison, kind of the same thing is that he hasn't been wrestling since he was, 4, 5, 6 years old. So he is getting better and better as well. And that really speaks, I think, to his athleticism, that he doesn't have as much experience as some of the guys he's going up against, and yet is still really good.
Yeah, look at that. That was a great little shrug by. Wow.
And this is what, NC State is about. It's about that competition and the culture that Pat Popolizio brings to his program. They get that competition, and then when you're in the room, Faison's going up against Daniel Bullard all the time. That's going to make you better. Pat Popolizio coming off of a loss. It's a rare thing to say. Hadn't happened a couple of years ago against Pitt. The response by NC State in that instance, as the first period comes to a close, the response by that team 2 years ago was a very good one.
Yep.
NC State's going to try to replicate that again.
Yeah, I actually talked
little different circumstances.
Exactly. I talked to Pat Popolizio about that, and he kind of admitted, he said, we had a lot more opportunities after that Pitt loss, whereas this year it's you get one more match against Duke and then you're into the postseason. So the rebound or the response to that loss is really going to come at the ACC championships.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because there's a little bit more of a break as Faison might be in trouble here. Becker able to turn that single from Faison around and earn some back points. The near fall for Becker, and he is right back in this.
Yeah, anytime you can hit a headlock and get all your back points, that's really going to change the match. And wow, that's a big swing in this one.
Well, let's talk about that. Not only is there some time between now and ACCs, and then time between ACC championships and the NCAAs, and you go to nationals as well, but because it's such a shortened year, things are just so different for these wrestlers. Do you think that is going to lead to, I know we have talked to at times that maybe favors more veteran wrestlers, because obviously they just have an experience advantage. Do you think that is going to make conference championships and nationals more chaotic? What do you think comes out of this?
Well, that was the thing I was going to go to, is I think that makes the postseason so unpredictable. I mean, it's hard to predict in a regular season what's going to happen.
No doubt.
But now that I strongly feel like at nationals, seedings are going to be a mess, and it's going to be really hard. We're going to see more crazy upsets than we do in a normal year, where we always see crazy upsets at that tournament.
Faison bouncing back after he gave up the near fall. He gets the next takedown, and he will take a 12-8 lead into the third period.
You see Becker just kind of catching Faison in a headlock, gets the 2 points for the takedown, gets the 4 points for the near fall. But hey, credit to Faison there for fighting off of his back, and right now he's in the lead.
And 10 seconds into the third period, they'll get a takedown. And that, as you said, seeds are going to be a mess. A couple of weeks ago, calling some extra matches, I was joined by Michael Macchiavello, Tommy Gant. They were telling me about how nationals is crazy anyways, and how you really have to focus in, because there's so many mats going that all of a sudden you can you can easily get distracted by say, wait, the number 1 guy in my weight class just went down. He just got upset. The number 4 guy just got upset. Hey, you can all of a sudden start thinking about things other than what you have to do on the mat. And they were telling me just how difficult that can be. So expect even more chaos this year.
Yeah, that's the thing you absolutely cannot do at Nationals is start looking ahead in your bracket. Oh, I got this guy next. I got this. You have to focus on the task at hand, and you just have to take it match by match. I know that's so coach speaky to say, but it's really what.
And you also can't look at the number next to the name of the guy that you're wrestling, because they might be overseeded, they might be wildly underseeded, and you might be in for a tough match.
Especially this year.
Well, Faison, after giving up and getting caught in that headlock, he is really dominated since that point.
He's really pouring it on there. You see him being heavy on Becker's head as he goes for the cuts. And, he's cutting him, but he's not just letting him up. He's being heavy on that head and doing everything he can to make it really uncomfortable.
And he gets a takedown in the final 10 seconds. And how about that? 21 points put up by Faison.
Yeah, he's going to end this one doubling up his opponent after getting nearly 2 minutes of riding time. 22-11. Major decision victory for Alex Faison.
So that will make it 28-0 at 174. And then, as we said, at 184 as well. Trent Hidley, there he is, ready to go for NC State. Duke does not have anyone at this weight class, so he will come out, and it will be a forfeit for Duke, and Hidley will raise the roof. So we'll take a short break and come back. 197-pound matchup. It's a good one. Trumbull against Russell. Our matchup at 197 pounds is a good one. 9th ranked Isaac Trumbull of NC State. He's a true freshman and has taken the ACC by storm against a redshirt junior, Caden Russell. Now, Trumbull is 6-0. Russell is 0-4 on the year. So on paper, you might say, well, as you get to see Russell immediately get into his offense, you might say on paper, well, one guy's unbeaten, the other guy is winless. What do you mean this is a good matchup? This is Russell's 3rd year as a starter at Duke. He's seasoned. He's got experience. He won 2 ACC duels last year when he went 17-15 overall. So, yeah, he struggled at 197 pounds in the ACC so far this year. But he is a very capable wrestler of getting wins in ACC duels. And Trumbull is brand new. You see his ranking 16th on our graphic there. He beat Stan Smeltzer in a tough battle last weekend, 6-5. He is capable of big moves. I think every broadcast I've seen, they just rave about. I think everybody knows by now he's 6'4". As he gets in trouble here, and Russell pins him in the first. Well, I don't think anybody was expecting that.
Caden Russell picks up his first win of the season in dramatic fashion. 44-second pin. That puts Duke on the board. 34-6.
We look forward to the heavyweight bout. Deontay Wilson against Jonah Niesenbaum in his Black History Month. How about Tab Thacker here at NC State? Perfect in his senior year and 1984 NCAA champ. Another NCAA champ, Darion Caldwell at 149 pounds. And now a mixed martial artist. And then Mekhi Lewis, NC State. And Thomas Bullard saw him last weekend, ranked #1 in the country. He is the defending NCAA champ. And Deontay Wilson against Jonah Niesenbaum. And Deontay Wilson has very high hopes this year for postseason excellence.
Absolutely. He goes in to the postseason as the favorite in the ACC, but those heavyweights, you look at any of the national rankings, those heavyweights are not very far from each other. Should be a tight one at the conference tournament.
So Wilson ranked 17th in the country. He's a junior against sophomore Jonah Niesenbaum. And real quick, as we just get into this one, I just want to take a second and say, what a performance from Caden Russell. Because the way that the breaks are formatted, we just don't have that much time to break it down there. But, you know, we were in the middle of the discussion about how Russell, he might be 0-4. He's very dangerous. He's seasoned. He was able to hit that cradle, and that experience paid off against the freshman Trumbull.
Yeah, and I really thought I was going to say when I got a moment there, Caden Russell was coming off of what I thought was a pretty tough performance, you know, losing to number 8 J.I.L.O. only by a score of 6-2. Thought that was an impressive performance, and he goes out there and gets it done against a freshman who's been racking up pins of his own.
Right.
And he goes out there, gets an early takedown, locks up the cradle, and ends it early.
And Coach Lanham said he expects Caden Russell to be an All-American this year. He has that belief. Yeah, he's a redshirt junior. So he still has some, obviously everybody has eligibility if they want coming back, but he's got still some room to grow. But that's his expectations. That tells you, you know, what he thinks of his ability. And I think he just showed right there, hey, he can hit a big move against a highly ranked wrestler that really hadn't faced all that much adversity till now. He won every bout, although that was something that as that bout progressed, I know we were planning on talking about, you know, Trumbull has hit some big moves and he is unbeaten, but he had to come from behind in his last 2 bouts, and it was just a question of, you know, is he beatable? And Russell finished it in the first as Wilson finishes this takedown.
Yeah, he really had to work for that one, but he did make Niesenbaum pick up a stalling call, and then he was able to get in on that shot and eventually finish it for the 2-0 lead.
And this is what the Wolfpack want to see more of from Deontay Wilson. He's got such good conditioning that he tends to dominate in the third periods. But they know he's good enough that he can get to his offense earlier. And that's what they want to see from him, and he does so here in the first.
Yeah, I think the more that you can get Deontay Wilson going early, the better, and the more his conditioning is going to pay off in the third period. If he can kind of get some 2-1, 4-2 leads in the first period and then build off of those instead of having those 0-0 scoreless first periods.
Because he made quite a name for himself last year, coming through in the clutch against North Carolina, against Virginia Tech, where that conditioning was shown that, you know, he was just fresher than his opponent in the final seconds, and he was able to capitalize.
Yeah, he was the closer out there. It was kind of like a baseball player. He gets the call from the bullpen, he comes out and he just shut those matches down.
Niesenbaum in his second year as a starter at Duke went 3-19 last year. He's 1-2 on the year this season, and it's a crowded room at heavyweight for Coach Lanham. What did you say? It was a big boy bonanza coming up in the extra matches because there's a lot of heavyweight bouts going on.
That's right. That's probably what it's like in the Duke wrestling room every day with the number of heavyweights they have on their roster.
They've got 4 heavyweights that compete, and Niesenbaum has kind of emerged from that group, but it's still good competition. And the escape is awarded to Niesenbaum. Deontay Wilson beat 17th ranked John Borst of Virginia Tech by a 3-1 decision. And he just runs out of real estate here. And that was a big win for the Wolfpack at heavyweight last week against Borst.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the second to last match. And that was Borst and Wilson. It kind of was like whichever national rankings you're looking at had one guy higher, and then the next set of national rankings had the other guy higher. And I think Deontay Wilson kind of went out there and proved he should be considered the ACC favorite after that win.
Wilson works up to his feet, and Niesenbaum returns into the mat. But again, Wilson's got that motor, and we'll see here in the third. This is a tight one. He gets the escape and immediately just buries Niesenbaum.
There's that Deontay Wilson gas tank showing up in the third period once again.
He is just never out of a match. And if he's got a lead into the third, even though, it was just a 2-1 lead, so obviously still plenty of opportunity for Niesenbaum, but he earns the escape and a takedown just seconds later.
Yeah, I mean, it was bang, bang. He got out and was in on that shot immediately, and you look at the riding time now, too. He's got almost 2.5 minutes of riding time racked up, so that's locked up. This is basically a 6-1 match.
Escape awarded. I think both wrestlers for a second thought the whistle was going to be blown, and they were still inbounds.
They were over-anticipating a little bit there.
30 seconds left in this duel. Reminder, extra matches coming on after this. Though it'll be 2 mats simultaneous, I believe. It'll be about a 15-minute break between the conclusion of this duel and the extra matches. Time runs out. Deontay Wilson will take the decision victory over Niesenbaum here, 6-2, the final, and that will make it 37-6. NC State defeating Duke. Ryan Tice, what are your thoughts on what we saw tonight in the final Friday night duels of regular season?
Well, I'll tell you, there's 2 takeaways for me out of this match. First one is NC State freshman 149-pounder Ed Scott picking up a win over Josh Finesilver, the best win of his college career. And on the other side for Duke, Caden Russell goes against undefeated Isaac Trumbull. Didn't have a win yet this year. Picks it up in dramatic fashion with a first period pin.
For Ryan Tice, our great crew here in Raleigh, my name is Andrew Sanders saying good night. Extra matches coming up next.